Good afternoon and welcome, University of Maryland, Baltimore alumni, to another fun and ultimately delicious cooking class. I'm Alex Lukowski, Executive Director of Media Relations. Today, our favorite chef, Amy von Lange, co-owner of Schola Cooking School in Baltimore, is here at long last. And as I mentioned, she's going to walk us through that wonderful meal. Now, along the way, you might have questions, and that's okay. And that's sometimes you want to get clarification. Our own Nancy Gordon is watching the chat window, and she'll write your questions in chat, not Q&A, which I don't think should work for you, but write them in chat, and she'll be there, and she'll try to get you an answer so everything works out just right. And if you would like to add captions on your computer screen, that's easily done. Just look for live transcription at the bottom of your screen. Click that and follow the instructions, and you can actually have the words come along with it. I want to be sure to tell you this program is being recorded, of course. And last but not least, keep your eye out for emails following this event. The first thing you're going to receive early this week is a brief survey about the experience this afternoon. Don't mention the delay, I'm just kidding. And that's going to allow us to successfully plan more fun and interesting events. So tell us what you liked and didn't like and how you think it could be better so that we can plan things that will appeal to everyone in the audience more in the future. And keep an eye out for the monthly Alumni e-newsletter, because we've got more events that are coming, and that's where you'll see announcements for those. So now, at long last, please welcome UMB President Dr. Bruce Jarrell and family.
Good afternoon. It's a great pleasure to be here. As you can tell, I have a lot of helpers in my kitchen, and I'd like to introduce my four beautiful granddaughters. We'll start with Katie right here. Hi, Katie. And then there's Stella. Stella will say hi. And then there's Lily. Hi. And then there's Scarlett right here. Hi. So we're all going to be cooking together. We're going to be listening to Amy, and hopefully our food will come out as good as Amy's comes out. I would like to welcome you. This is our third UMB alumni event. And if you can't see me, it's because I'm the guy in the back here. This is our third event. We had a cooking event several months ago. We had over 400 UMB alumni there. We then had one evening, Dr. Ken Jung, who was delightful to speak with. As many of you know, he's a physician and also a comedian. And it was just a really good in-depth conversation. It wasn't about humor, it was about his career and how he got to where he's at. And then this is our third event, the cooking class with Schola. We've had over 6,000 people attend these events. So it's really been nice to see people interested in what we're doing. The original idea here was to make contact with the UMB alumni, particularly during this period of COVID, not to replace the schools, but rather to supplement the schools and their contacts with you. And part of what we wanted to make sure you had heard about was all the things that UMB has been doing. And we have been very actively engaged in COVID. We're now in our fourth vaccine trial. We did Pfizer, Moderna, J&J, and now we're in the Novavax trial. We took a major research laboratory and turned it into a PCR lab testing facility. We've now done over 800,000 PCR tests for the state of Maryland, for our citizens and the students in the various universities. We took our campus center and turned it into a vaccination center. And thank you for the School of Nursing for playing a major role in that program. Our School of Dentistry stayed open and took care of sick patients, and our School of Pharmacy and School of Social Work were very involved with the community. And of course, law was always involved with things. So we've been right in there fighting this virus. We've kept our clinical experiences intact. We've had all of our students graduate on time. And again, this year they will all graduate on time. And throughout all of this, we've been teleworking for over 5,000 of our workers, and we've remained an anchor institution in West Baltimore. So we've been able to do what we need to do during these difficult times. And we're hoping that by August, a large proportion of the campus will be back on campus, either taking classes or also working. Now, one of the reasons for having this UMB alumni event is to let you know that we really need your support now more than we ever did every school needs your support. Our students have been through great hardships. They've had to borrow money. We need scholarships very badly. So please keep that in mind. We also have major research efforts going on, both in the basic science labs and in the clinical facilities. We have people leading national roles in terms of COVID, and supporting those programs is very important to us. And then lastly, of course, we have a major outreach commitment to our West Baltimore neighbors. And just keep that in mind as you think about it, because we really, really need your support at this time. So I hope you'll remember us. I hope you'll remember your school, and I hope you'll find a way to help support us. So with that, I'm going to be with my 4 cooking colleagues here, and we're going to be cooking what's planned here. I'm looking forward to Schola. I'm looking forward to Amy, to your teaching us how to do this, and I'm looking forward to actually eating it. You know, we ate the pot pies after we did the pot pies last time. So this time we're going to have fish, man. That'll be good. And a great salad. And you don't like chocolate, do you?
Me too.
You love chocolate, don't you?
Chocolate.
Yeah. Okay, we got 3 chocolate people and 1 not a chocolate. So Amy, we're really looking forward to the 2 of you teaching us how to do this. So with that, Alex, I will hand it back to you.
Thank you very much. And I always appreciate that you're overpowered by a room of women. Every single time I see you, there are a bunch of girls in your presence and they have control, and I like that.
These are women, Amy. As you said, these are women. Okay.
They're women. They can do. They're
right.
Good. They're great. So again, I have my co-host John Newbauer, which I think you guys remember from last time. So he and I are going to be cooking together today. It's great to see you again. I always love having you in the kitchen. He's so knowledgeable about culture in general. And he's a great co-host, and he loves food and he loves cooking. So it's really nice to have someone to bounce some questions off of. So what we're going to do here, we're going to start out. I'm going to give you an overview of what we're doing. If you have any questions, Nancy is going to relay them to us, and then we can answer. If you guys don't have a question, if it's not even related to this class, no big deal. We love to answer questions. And if I don't know the answer, I will find out for you. So,
do you want to talk about, first of all, why we're so close?
Oh, we have both been fully vaccinated, and we really appreciate all you guys are doing, where you guys are to help us all get vaccinated. I'm fully vaccinated for about a month now. You're more than a month.
Almost 2.
Yeah.
Almost 2.
So we are, and this is our pod. We've been hanging out together the whole entire thing. So we are close together today because we have been vaccinated, thanks to all the efforts that everybody in the community, especially you guys have been doing. So,
yeah, keep up the great job that you're doing, please.
Yes. We're so happy to be, and we're back open at Schola, which is so lovely for me because I was going a little insane. So, as we all are, and we want to get back out there.
Okay, so what do we have here today?
So today we're going to be making 3 different dishes. We're going to do roasted salmon. We're going to start it off in a pan. We're going to pan roast it. If you want, you can do the whole thing in the same pan. I like to avoid doing dishes, so I like 1-pan dishes. So we're going to do some pan roasted salmon. We are going to, and it's not quite there yet, but we're close. It's May. It's the beginning of May. Tomato, corn, shallots, some white wine, and some basil. We're going to saute that down, and that's the sauce that's going to go right on top of the salmon. Very fresh, very easy, as you're going to see once we get this together. We're going to do an asparagus salad. Asparagus is great right now. It's easy to find, and it's not really expensive. You will notice in the off season, it's really expensive. You can still get it, but right now, not so much. So we're going to do an asparagus salad with a country mustard vinaigrette, and the country mustard, I just call ground mustard, basically. Is it Maya? What's the French?
Mike.
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 So John speaks about 8,000 different languages, so he's gonna correct me. Mai. So the Mai is a great, coupon.
Exactly.
Great coupon is a
Exactly.
great one.
Something grainy.
I have Engelhofer here. It's a German. It's awesome, but something grainy. We're gonna do a grainy mustard with this. So that's gonna be the salad, and then last but not least, we're gonna make a chocolate mousse. And I
Excited.
do have, what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to switch this out, and I do have the hand mixer here. You do not need a KitchenAid to do this. You can do this with like love and a lot of
You
muscle,
could.
but we're not going to because I do have a KitchenAid, all right?
Amy, real
Yes.
quick, it's Nancy. We have a question about the chocolate mousse.
Uh,
Can unsweetened baking chocolate be used with extra sugar? And if so, how much extra sugar?
Why do you have to throw
Sweet
that at me?
taste.
I
Yeah,
think that's called Google,
but
right?
I would sweeten it to taste.
Sweeten it, exactly what John's saying, sweeten it to taste, because we are gonna melt that down ahead of time. So, we're gonna melt that down in a bain-marie, which is basically a water bath. And then you'll add a little bit of sugar. And what we always say when we're cooking, have a tasting spoon. Recipes are suggestions.
It's true.
And just have a tasting spoon so you can taste it while you go. If it's too bitter, add more sugar. Don't go crazy and add like a whole cup of sugar and then mix it. It's all about tasting as you go,
What do you and your family like?
seasoning as you go. Same thing with everything when we cook. Absolutely. So, any other questions? All right, so no problem on the actual chocolate mousse. We're gonna do that last. So today we're gonna start with, I like to do, this is mise en place. This is what we call mise en place, which means everything in place. We've got everything we need to cook right in front of us. This will save you a lot of time in the kitchen. Believe it or not, it seems like a lot of work ahead of time, but if you have everything out, you're not taking an extra second here, an extra minute here. You're not running around the kitchen the whole entire. If you have everything in front of you, so much easier. And if you have it prepped, people always ask me, how do you do Thanksgiving dinner and it all come together at the same time? It's all about prep. Don't you agree?
I do.
Yeah, you need to get everything chopped, everything done ahead of time.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Amy, one thing, are we supposed to be seeing what is in front of you? Because we can't. All of your
Oh,
prep.
you can.
That's
All right.
always helpful, Nancy.
Yeah, it's really helpful. Okay, so I do have a camera here. Do you not see anything?
We do not.
Gallery view, and which is the host view, and you should be able to see it, Nancy.
See a
Oh,
table.
okay. I do not see it, but there is, everybody else is saying they can see it.
Yeah, they can, because I'm
Okay.
sorry to get technical with you. They're
Okay.
following my view, which is the gallery view. And from time to time, I will show the close-up of the food when you're cooking, when you're
Okay.
talking about something you're doing. But Nancy, you
everybody-
as
yeah.
a special person can select your own view, and you're looking at the speaker. So don't worry, the audience can
Okay.
see everything.
Everybody, I've got it now. Everybody is saying they see it, but there's one question. What if I don't have an iron-proof skillet?
Ah, okay.
Don't worry about it.
I love that answer.
You know what you have? You have a cookie sheet. It doesn't matter. You guys are fine. Absolutely. You do not need an iron skillet. I have a cast iron at my house and I use it constantly because it's so easy for me to sear something and then just throw it in the oven and not worry about it. If you don't have an oven-proof skillet, don't worry about it. Throw it on a cookie sheet. With cookie sheets, I like to put some foil down because I do not like washing dishes. So I will put either foil or parchment paper or something down like that. So I don't have to clean a bunch of dishes in the end. Hopefully that answers your question. Good?
I've got one more here.
Nancy, I can't see you. I want to see your beautiful face.
We haven't even started, but can we use chicken broth instead of wine?
I'm sorry, what did she say?
Can we use chicken broth instead of wine?
Oh, chicken.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. If you don't want to use wine in your cooking, chicken broth works. Also, any kind of acid will work. I like a little bit of acid. I know there's a show and I can never remember the order of it, but it's heat, salt, acid, fat, right?
Something like that. Yeah.
So the wine is the acid portion of it. You can use chicken broth instead, no big deal. However, you can also use lemon juice. You can use a white vinegar, a rice vinegar, a very light
Just once again, acid.
a little bit of acid. So you do not have to cook with alcohol ever. As long as you have a little bit of acid, it always works out pretty well.
But since we're talking about alcohol, should I buy, in stores you see the cooking wine and stuff like that?
I gotta tell you, I've done okay with the white cooking wine in grocery stores. The sherry, horrible. Yeah, you need real sherry.
Okay.
If a recipe calls for sherry, you want to use real sherry. I got it. I've used it in the grocery store stuff.
So if you wouldn't drink it in real life, you would never use it in cooking.
Pretty much, and I wouldn't drink the cooking wine either. But another thing is, if you do have some wine left over from a dinner you had, or I know it's a little bit rare these days because of COVID, but if you have some leftover like white wine or red wine from dinner, cap it, save it, and use it for cooking. And I would do that up to about 2 to 3 weeks. It's not a big deal. It's not you're cooking with it. It's just, it's awesome.
And then you could make a white wine vinegar if it's more than 2 weeks.
That's a totally
That's another
different
class.
It's a totally different cooking class. All right,
Okay.
so we're gonna get back to it. Unless anybody else have any questions.
Nope, we're good for now.
All right, excellent, Nancy. Nancy, seriously, turn your camera on. I want to see your lovely face. All right, so we are going to, what I like to do, and like I was saying when we began, everything's kind of out, except for the dessert. I got the dessert kind of here. Everything's out. The asparagus is out for the salad, for the corn and the tomato sauce. I've got everything going here. I already have some wine pre-measured. If you're not using wine, you can use chicken broth if you want. You just need to reduce that. You can use lemon juice, something with a little acid. You can use vinegar. Vinegar, and a little bit of vinegar and a little bit of chicken stock. Great. Yeah, absolutely. So what we're going to do first is we're going to get all of our veg done. I like to do veggies first, then I don't have to wash cutting boards a ton of times. So I've got my salmon here. It's on a plate separate. So what we're going to do with our asparagus, we're going to make an asparagus salad. These guys are very thin. If you get like a huge piece of asparagus, what I like to do is sometimes take a vegetable peeler and just peel the ends. These guys are so thin, I am just going to chop this up. And yes, all asparagus has a natural break. I should have saved one. But usually you can tell where the natural break is. You just kind of snap it, and that's the natural break. And then I like to line it up and then cut it. These guys, if you like soup, if you like asparagus soup especially, these are great for soup. Okay, so you guys can cook these down, puree them for soup. It's great. So I'm going to put this into here, a little pan, my little Julia Child shop. All right, so what I'm going to do first is, so the asparagus salad, really easy. But what I like to do is blanch vegetables, so they're nice and bright green. So these guys, blanching is simply just putting in really hot water for about 30 seconds to 2 minutes, depending on the thickness of your vegetables. These asparagus, again, really thin. Your recipe calls for thick asparagus. They're not always available. It's totally fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to blanch. So blanching is putting in hot liquid really quickly until it turns bright green, and then we throw it into an ice bath. And you probably can't see this. There you go. Oops. I mean, it's just some water with some ice. No big deal. Okay?
How much water do you have in the pan?
I don't know.
Say about 2 cups maybe?
2, 3. 2,
Yeah.
3 cups. Enough for, and I can actually move the pan over.
All right. Perfect.
And I have not been prepping well
I
without
will
you.
get you.
If you can get me some tongs, that would be great. All right, so you guys can see this now, I hope, maybe, hopefully. All Actually, let me move this stuff over. All right, so I put this into some very hot water, okay? These are so thin, they don't take very long. An easy way to tell if these are done,
Oh, look at that.
seriously, this is gonna take probably another 30 seconds, but you can see how bright green these got, okay? Now I'm gonna put these into this ice bath.
You know, it's interesting because I've never thought of taking them off the heat, but it works just as well.
It does,
It really
absolutely.
does.
And if anything's ever boiling over, if anything's ever boiling over, if anything's getting too hot, just lift it off. And I think people forget about that. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but like I do, you know, if I'm making a cream sauce or something, you know, cream tends to boil crazy over. Pasta, same thing. If you're not paying attention to it, it boils over and you get that big water mess on your stove. You know what's really easy? Take your pot holder, pull it off, and put it on a cool part of the stove. Very, very easy to do. And I know it sounds very simple, but people forget to do that. So just take it off the heat.
Ready?
Sure. All right, so we've got our asparagus here. Beautiful, nice and bright green. I will show you guys. I don't know if you guys can see that, but.
Amy,
Yes.
a couple of questions. Okay, I have moderately thick asparagus. Wait, where did it just go? Are the shavings to make them thinner, or are the shavings the part you eat?
I actually can't hear you, Nancy. I'm so
So
sorry.
she's been shaving the asparagus.
Oh,
Would you save
I'm
the
done.
shavings and eat them? Good.
You definitely can. You want to save the shavings. Again, like I did the stems, I would put those into a soup or a puree or something like that. So this recipe is for really big asparagus. So I have very thin asparagus, so I'm probably not going to be shaving these today because they are very tiny. You can see they're really, really thin. The big, you know, when you get these big stalks of asparagus, then you can do that with a vegetable peeler.
The tree asparagus.
The trees, the huge trees. I have not seen any yet in the
It's
season.
asparagus season.
Yes, exactly. So we've got these little tiny guys. These guys, don't even worry about cutting or shaving. It's when you get those big, big pieces. All right, does that make sense? Everybody good?
Amy, a number of people are asking if you can reposition the camera so that
Sure.
you see the table.
John's gonna do that.
Tell me when it's right.
You want it over here?
I think they want to see it from Amy's point of view,
From Amy's.
if that's
What do you got
possible.
I don't know about that.
You want better?
You probably see Amy's belly. Give me an idea, left, right, or
This is a virtual, and
Right.
we're still trying to figure out technology.
After a
So-
year.
We have talked about that.
yeah.
All right,
Is
these
this-
are coming in fast and furious. I can't keep up with these. It
I
went
hear you.
away, now it's back. Rotate the phone, lower it a bit so we can see your hands.
Lower it a bit.
Turn
Okay.
it 90 degrees, rotate left. So
Nancy,
it's a different.
Do the hokey pokey and
Exactly.
you turn yourself around.
Is that good?
I'm going to say yes because everybody's got
Okay.
a different
And that's the right answer.
view.
And
And
then there we
if
go.
it's not, we'll work with you.
We will. And another thing, thank you guys so much for your patience. Virtuals have been so challenging through this time because, you know, in here, Schola, I'm in front of you. I am telling you, hey, we can do this. And if you have a question, I can just come over and show you how to do it. Here, a little bit more difficult, and getting camera angles pretty difficult.
Getting
So
online is pretty.
apparently today, getting online was very difficult. Like my email kept kicking me out, and I didn't know what was going on. Anyway, thank you for your patience.
One more,
We will try our best to position the
To fit.
all
camera.
right, one more quick camera view. Can you take the camera that is showing you and John and the wall behind you? Can you move it down a little bit so that it's more John and Amy and maybe the prep table
Yes.
and not the wall?
Sure,
Okay,
sure.
wait a minute. You
All right.
stand here.
He's prettier than I am, actually.
Stop. Okay. How's
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
We have a win. We have a win.
Okay.
All right. I know that was.
That was easy.
Yes. That's the easiest thing we have to do today. All right. So we have blanched our asparagus. Let's show that a little bit. All right. So blanching. Blanching, again, you can do this with broccoli, you can do this with carrots. If you're doing a veggie tray at home, I know this sounds really ridiculous, but if you're doing a veggie tray, if you blanch your vegetables, they look so much better than they do when you buy them in that like big round thing from the grocery store. Buy the big round thing from the grocery store, blanch them for a couple seconds, and it will look as if you have made all of those vegetables and perfect. They look really good. All right, so this is the asparagus for the asparagus salad. Hopefully we got that. I'm gonna put this right here for now.
Okay.
Now, so we've got our asparagus done. What we're gonna do next is, like I said, we're gonna do vegetables first. I like to do vegetables before meat when I prep, because then I don't have to clean my cutting boards a ton of times. Another great tip, and I know it sounds mundane and stupid, flip your cutting board. You do not have to wash it a ton of times. Flip your cutting board, and then you have a clean new side. All right, so we're good on
So I
that.
could do meat on the other side.
You can do meat on the other side. You don't have to worry about it. You know,
Perfect.
like I'm always worried about that. Like I do not want chicken, or like I don't want anything touching my vegetables.
No.
Cross contamination, exactly. Look at you and your big sanitary words. All good. All right. So next, I am going to pour the asparagus salad. So we're prepping the asparagus salad first because it takes a little bit more time, not a ton. We're gonna do this country mustard vinaigrette. All right. So I'm gonna tell you, I like shallots. I love shallots.
Why do you like shallots?
Because they are a very mild form of the onion. Okay, and they're like a cross between like a scallion and garlic and onion.
So it's not a gotcha.
And I am not a huge, you know what I like onions on? An Italian cold cut, all right? Like it.
Hamburgers.
Right, exactly. In my vinaigrette, not so much. So we are going to do a shallot. So shallots are really easy to find. They're usually right by the garlic in the grocery aisle. Yes,
Everywhere.
very easy.
Everywhere.
Yeah, pretty much. So I'm gonna chop.
So are you gonna peel the shallot? How do you do a shallot? You tell me.
So what I like to do with my shallot, actually, why don't I do this over here since I've got this whole camera set up. All right. And guys, if I know the view is a little challenging, so. All right.
Is that good? Okay.
So hopefully chime in if this isn't what you want to say.
All right.
All right, so what I like to do is I like to take, for my shallot, I like to take each end off. I'll just start over. One end off here, one end off here.
That's cutting skills. Wow.
All right, so now I'm gonna cut this in half. All right, lengthwise, and sometimes it's a little bit of a waste, but what I do not like in my food is onion skin. It drives me crazy. If people do that in here, I'm like, what are you doing? I mean, I'm very forgiving, but I just don't like chewing onion skin. So, you know what? Same thing with an onion. Peel an outer layer off. We do not want that crispy. Okay, we just don't, because it's chewy.
Papery.
It's just not good. All right, so this guy, I'm actually gonna cut down here, cut down here, and then, so when we're chopping, we like to rest against our knuckle. I say we, like it's.
Exactly.
I know, I don't
That's
mean
okay.
we, I do.
One does.
One likes to. Okay, so if you're doing this, you're gonna chop your fingers off, right?
And
And don't go crazy, and then you'll chop your knuckles. But like, we just want to rest. So, as long as you kind of use your knuckles,
And you push away from it.
push away from you, push away. We're gonna rock this knife, okay?
Love it.
Not in like a journey, like don't stop believing kind of way.
So this is a nice little rough chop, right?
This is a nice little rough chop. Once you're done with that, a little bit more.
Perfect.
Right? So this is for a salad dressing. For salad dressings, I like everything kind of minced. I do not like chunky salad dressings that much. So I'm gonna keep kind of chopping this up.
And the smell is wonderful.
It is, it's very
really-
fragrant. I do like a shallot. It doesn't make you cry as much as an
No.
onion. It makes you cry a little bit because it's very fresh, but
Life is full of tears.
yes. Really? We're not here to convey that message.
Okay, fine.
All right, so totally.
Okay.
All right,
Shallots.
so shallots chopped. All right, so this is for the vinaigrette. John, I forgot what this is the vinaigrette. I know that there's vinegar, there's honey.
This
So-
will be mustard.
Yeah, so I've got my onion or my shallots chopped for the vinaigrette. Another really great tip for vinaigrettes for salad dressing, mason jar. Mason jar with a lid. We teach the kids how to emulsify, how to slowly pour oil into vinegar so it emulsifies. Oil and vinegar don't like each other. We have to get an easy way to get that nice and emulsified. Throw this in a mason jar with a lid and shake it. Super easy. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to sit there and whisk forever. And
Upper body strength.
exactly. So we do that. So I'm gonna go ahead and put some of these shallots in here. We need some of that mustard.
You do?
Sure. Sorry, thank you. Don't call me Shirley.
Now let's take the top off.
Top good. Any questions so far, Nancy?
Nope, we're good right now.
Excellent.
Oh, wait, here comes one. Are the shallots for the vinaigrette or for the salmon sauce?
Both.
That was an easy answer.
It was, actually,
Okay.
yeah. So it's for both. So you can use it in the vinaigrette and for the sauce for the salmon. And if you don't feel like it, you don't have to put it in the sauce for the salmon. And it's not necessary for the dressing yet either, but we already have them chopped up. So why don't we spread that ingredient around?
And
Okay.
not what's good.
Because people
Not
are
waste food.
saying,
I'm all about not wasting food.
people are asking that the shallots were not in the recipe for the vinaigrette. How much do we use? How much for each? For the dressing?
So why don't we do, I would say about a tablespoon of shallot for the vinaigrette. If you're adding it, you don't have to. And so John and I always talk about this. Recipes are suggestions. So you do not have to stick to these recipes. If you do, and substitutions are key for everything. If you don't have shallot, you can use spring onions. You can actually use regular onions and red onion.
What do they have at the market?
What do they have at the market? Today was was it
The
last?
farmer's market.
So I think it was the second farmer's
Yeah.
market. Finally,
Finally,
after
exactly.
COVID. So, what do they have at the market? What do I have? Do I have onion? Do I have spring onion? Do I have garlic? Whatever it is. Let's try to use, let's substitute.
My family doesn't like onion. Don't use it.
Exactly, just don't use it, leave it out. I don't like mayonnaise.
This is true. So we leave it out.
He actually really knows that,
Yeah.
which is so weird. But anyway, so if you are gonna put your shallots into the dressing, which I always forget to read recipes because I don't cook with recipes, don't worry about it. You do not need the shallot in the dressing. It's just an additional flavor, okay? But if you are, I would do 1 tablespoon to 2 tablespoons, depending on what you like.
So,
And another thing I like to do, and we talk about this all the time, is taste as you go. So we're gonna make this vinaigrette, and what I want you to do is take a spoon, taste it. Not so much. Let's add more garlic. Let's add more vinegar. You need to make it taste the way you want it. You're eating it. And I think people forget this for some reason. They come in here and they're like, what do you think? And I'm like, what does it matter what I think? I mean, it does to a point. Like, if it's disgusting, then I'm going to tell you. But if you like it, then you're golden. You're cooking for yourself. Make sure you like it. If you want tons of garlic and stuff, I love vinegar.
Yeah.
So I put tons of vinegar in my salad. Everybody likes that, like I do. So if that makes sense, cook for yourself. If you're cooking for other people, tamp it down a bit, just a little
so
bit.
use the recipe as a base.
As a base.
Correct. Got it. Amy,
Yeah.
Tim is asking, can I use champagne in place of champagne vinegar?
So I would do, if you want, maybe, do you have vinegar?
Or lemon.
I'm not
I
hearing.
would do maybe a splash of champagne and a little bit of lemon juice or a little bit of white vinegar if you have, or red wine vinegar if you have it. Then you get all of those flavors. I wouldn't use a full cup of champagne.
No.
I mean, why are you wasting your
Why?
champagne?
Tim,
That's
Tim,
French.
Come on.
Come on. No, I'm just kidding. But I would do a little bit of both. So if I don't have white wine vinegar, I could do a little bit of white wine and
Because it
then
goes
a
back
little
to
bit of
the
vinegar. It's acid.
You
It's
need the
all
Acid.
Okay.
Got it.
Awesome. All right. How are we on time so far? We're
We
good?
are good.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're still making the vinaigrette, which seems like it's taking forever because I'm talking way too much. All right. So I've got my country mustard. I got my shallots. Don't need to go in. No big deal.
How about some honey?
Honey, garlic. Let's just the whole entire thing.
Mhm.
So I'm going to show you real quick how I like to get garlic out of the peel. Another thing I do like is there's a fresh product in the herb section called Gourmet Garden,
Yes.
and they have chopped chunky garlic, and it's fresh, and it only stay, you can only keep it for like a week to 2 weeks. I use so much garlic. I love this stuff. It's already chopped for you. I do not like those jars that get the water. Disgusting. All right, don't do that. All right, but like if you are in a pinch and you don't feel like doing the chopping, Gourmet Garden, great products. They have chopped basil paste, they have chopped cilantro paste, they have ginger paste. It's amazing. So, but today, all right, so real quick, I'm going to show you, hopefully you guys can see what I like to do with my garlic. I take the flat end of my knife, I give it a good smack, and then I like to chop this edge off. And then this just comes out of the peel. I think a lot of people have problems with that. They think it is really sticky. However, if you do that, super easy. Boom. John, I am going to, I still have a zester.
You do?
We had an earlier class today. So I'm gonna have you zest the garlic into,
How
we
much
have
garlic
a
am I
zest.
using?
All of it.
All of it.
I mean, I love garlic. All right, so we're making the dressing right now, recap, and we will get moving pretty soon on the rest of the stuff. The rest of everything is honestly very easy. So he's going to, and you know what? So he's zesting the garlic into this jar and it's starting to fall apart. So what I'm gonna do is
Finish
real
chopping.
quick, I'm gonna just quick chop.
Perfect. And then we need to scrape here.
Just use your finger.
Just use my finger.
Just use your fingers.
Okay.
Any questions so far? Is everybody having a good Sunday? It is such a beautiful day. It is amazing that all of you guys are joining us.
Yeah. Amy, how long does the asparagus sit in the ice water? That's from Cheryl.
It doesn't really matter. What does matter is getting it out of the ice bath and then putting it on like a towel so it drains, or a paper towel.
Because the ice bath stops the cooking. That's what you want.
Exactly. The ice bath stops the cooking. So that's what you want.
That's
Just
what you want.
repeating exactly what you said. So that's what you want.
Okay. One more.
Yeah. So
One
it doesn't
more
matter
quickie.
how long it sits. However, you do want to drain that asparagus because we don't want excess water in our bag.
Okay. Evidently, Shari is saying there's no garlic in the dressing recipe, and Miko is asking how much garlic should we use in the dressing?
Use a clove.
Yeah, you did.
Once again, we're making this for my dinner. So
John requested garlic in his dressing. This dressing that we have in the recipes is a very standard vinaigrette. Awesome. If you want to add more, add more. We're adding some.
or not at all.
Or not at all. We're adding some garlic, we're adding some shallot. We're using it in everything. So I'm like just putting it into everything. I love using all of my ingredients.
Absolutely.
And I hate wasting ingredients. All right. However, you are going to use garlic and shallot for the sauce for the salmon. So if you want to use it in your vinaigrette, that's fantastic. If you don't want to, you don't have to. This is very, very basic. All right. So very cool, got everything pretty much. Honey, I got some honey here.
Right there.
A little bit of honey. You don't need a ton. Honey will offset acid very well. So if it's too lemony, like it depends on what you're using. If it's too much acid, if it's too much vinegar,
That is just a squeeze.
that was just a
a
squeeze. I'm gonna put a little bit of vinegar in here.
Perfect.
I'm gonna do some olive oil in here. And I am one of those people that like more vinegar than olive oil. So I always use way less olive oil than vinegar. I'll do more vinegar than olive oil. However, all salad dressings always call for more oil than vinegar.
What is the percentage? Do you know?
It's usually like a quarter to a half.
Okay.
Let's see, what does it say?
Great.
Actually, that says half cup, half cup.
Okay, so
Well, I think I altered that recipe because it's what I like. So.
Yeah.
Well, it's good, Amy, because you're answering a lot of the questions that are coming in. So I'm not going to ask you those.
Shake, shake, shake. All right, so another thing, again, remember, like what I was saying, what we were saying before, use a spoon. Taste, please taste. Don't serve it and then go, oh my God, this is terrible, universal. Right, exactly.
No.
You want to taste this, and if you like it, it's probably good. If you go, then it's probably not, you know, and you've got to add your flavor. Your flavor profiles. I love garlic. I love vinegar. Olive oil, I like it. I like a vinegary vinaigrette. That's what I like, and that's how I make things. And if you don't like it, you don't have to eat at my house. No, I'm just kidding.
So I could add herbs to this. I could add anything, right?
Amy?
Tarragon.
Whoa, yeah.
Tarragon's amazing.
Tarragon.
Tarragon does not get
The credit that it needs or
exactly.
deserves.
All right, so we're on this. Okay, so
Okay.
asparagus and vinegar. We are
One-
done.
One quick question. Margaret is asking, she could never chop garlic fine enough. The grater is a great idea. Do I need to buy a zester or do I just use any grater? Or is it a certain size of the hole of the grater?
So I will tell you this: if you the grater is great for so many things. Cheese, you can grate onions, you can grate vegetables in it, and we do that all the time because I do so many different cuisines here. I grate the cucumber for tzatziki. I grate the onion for tzatziki. You know, like coleslaw, carrots, cabbage. It's just ginger and garlic. This is easier to use. Lemon zest. Yeah. I would actually have both. They're not that expensive. Just go on Amazon. And they don't take that much room up in the drawer, honestly. A box grater takes up way more room, but like this little zester, you can do so many things if you want to fine grate. And this is a very, very fine grate. So I know I didn't really actually answer the question, but you might as well just invest in it. It's not that much more room in your drawer.
It's the right tool for a certain time.
Yeah, exactly. Especially garlic and ginger.
Exactly.
If you're a ginger person, definitely.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay,
So-
what are you doing next?
All right. So now we are going to prep the vegetables for the sauce for the salmon. Okay. We've got the, okay. So far we're kind of going to do an overview. How are we on time?
We are
I have to
at
get to planes soon.
4:50.
I got to catch planes soon. So it's all good. All right. So at this point we have our asparagus blanched. If it was huge, then you should have it shaved. If not, no big deal. We should be at least working on our vinaigrette, chopping our everything for the vinaigrette. If you don't want to, just follow this very simple recipe. You don't have to chop anything. It's just vinegar, mustard, honey, olive oil. That's it. I like to add a little bit more flavor to mine, so that's what I do. So we've got this done. So this is basically done. Now what we're going to do is we're going to prep for our sauce for our salmon, which is also so easy. You will be amazed. All right, so I just got some corn. I am going to take this off the cob. Sometimes it's a little
So
hard.
easy, yes.
So is all right. So this is sweet corn, actually. This is Maryland sweet corn. And it's not quite in season yet, but you can still get it. Just
But imagine this when it's truly in season.
when it's really in season, when tomato, so like July, August, great for tomato, corn, and crabs, actually. July, August, and September. My favorite time to get crabs is in September and October because I feel like they're just
Perfect.
amazing.
They're just perfect.
All right, so I am,
So this is definitely a summer recipe for a
exactly, May can be a little tough for this, which is fine, because tomatoes, Maryland tomatoes, you can get tomatoes all year round. And when I do, I always buy like the Campari, like the big red plump ones. I will never buy a Maryland tomato in January.
No.
They're pink, they're horrible. But if you can get some great heirlooms, or like I think this recipe calls for beefsteaks, they're great, but they have to be in season. So get whatever's in season.
go to the farmer's market and say, that's what I'm
Spend
going
a
to have today.
gazillion
But
dollars.
that's beside the point. Okay, so now what are you doing? You're taking the corn off?
All right, so I'm going to take the corn off the cob, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut this in half because it makes it a lot easier. So I know this looks weird. I'm rolling this because I know me and I'm not crazy strong.
Break it.
All right, so, and then this is really easy to take the corn off the cob at this point. I am going to cut this
Oh,
off.
it's beautiful. I would have never guessed that.
So this is really great. And another thing is, if we talk about stocks, you can make a stock with the corn.
Really? Like a
Yes.
cream of corn soup or
Chowder.
chowder or
You
something
do a
like
crab
that.
chowder with this, like really, really easy.
It's so easy.
It is, and it's funny. It looks like milk when it comes out, and it's still, it's delicious. All right, so I'm going to. So I've got my corn here.
Mhm.
All right, I'm not going to do all of this. Hopefully, you guys can see it.
Whoops.
All right.
Okay, there we go. And then a
Okay.
tomato.
Yes.
Diana's asking, is the corn raw? And it's funny because I was going to ask, could you use frozen corn?
So frozen corn is raw as well. So yes, you absolutely can. Canned corn is cooked. So if you're gonna do canned corn, I wouldn't add it till the very end. It's kind of like if you add frozen peas to something, add them at the end.
Right.
So this is raw. We add this raw. Frozen corn is raw. So just thaw it and then throw it in at the end.
Okay.
Frozen vegetables get a bad rap, but actually
do,
they're picked at the prime.
At the exact prime time, they do get a bad rap.
They really
And they
do.
actually, and I will use frozen corn in a bunch of stuff.
Frozen peas, frozen everything.
Aren't they they're much better than canned vegetables.
Oh,
Yes.
agreed.
Canned vegetables have been like,
Yeah.
unless they're beans. I mean, I'll use canned beans, but like the canned vegetables I'm not a big fan of because they're usually pretty mushy. They've been sitting in liquid for a really long
Salty.
time.
Salty.
You know, beans, totally different because they're a totally different texture.
Okay.
All right, so at this point, I'm sorry, Nancy, do you have?
That's okay. Leslie is asking, what brand and style knife are you using?
Ah.
All right, so I have a whole opinion on knives. This is what is this? This is Farberware.
Farber.
All right, so it's fine. As long as you keep your knives sharp, then you're fine. If you don't feel like sharpening your knives a lot, I would invest in some higher end knives. I have 4 Japanese knives at my house. I love them. They're thin blades. It really depends on what you like handle wise. I like a big, thick wooden handle. Like I like a thin blade. It really depends on what you like as far as knives go.
Exactly. A
Do you
little
have any-
weight.
Yeah,
Easy
exactly.
weight.
So Sabatier is a French knife, beautiful. My business partner loves them. Jerry loves Sabatier. They're expensive. Wusthof is always a good one. Henkel. I mean, they are some really good solid knives. I love the Japanese knives. However, if you don't want to spend a ton of money, you don't have to. Just make sure your knife is sharp.
Okay. What style of knife are you using there? Is that a chef's
Chef
knife?
knife. This
Yeah.
is a chef knife. So it's got that flat blade, that round kind of edge. And I just pulled this off.
Utilitarian.
It really is. And like I said, like I love my Japanese knives. But you
Because
know,
they're amazing.
they're amazing. But this is
But for
working
the rest of us human beings.
for the human beings,
Yes.
right? Yeah, because I'm not a human being. But yeah, just a basic knife. As long as it's sharp, it's okay. If it's not, then you are doing a lot more work than you need to do. My mom has used to have dinner parties all the time, and guess who always has to cook for them? So that's totally fine. However, I said, if you don't get some freaking good knives in this house, I am never doing dinner parties for you again. So she bought a decent set of, I think she got Henkel's or something from Macy's or something like that. And I'm like, all right, I can do this. Absolutely.
And you just tell your children that this is their legacy.
Right, exactly.
This is what I'm
Well,
gonna
when
do.
you have shuns, it is, because they're like $400. Right? So anyway, okay, so I'm gonna start, okay, so we've got our salmon here.
Mhm. This is beautiful, beautiful piece of salmon too.
So when cooking salmon, and I'm just gonna tell you guys, I cook it with the skin on. There's no shame in leaving it on the skin. It actually cooks really nicely and it pulls right off the, I'm just gonna stop for a second because that's distracting. The salmon will pull right off the skin after it's cooked. So if you don't, or if you're like totally against skin, don't worry about taking this off. And you can always ask, if even at the grocery store, you can say, hey, I'm buying this salmon, will you take the skin off for me? I mean, I do it myself, obviously, because this is what I do for a living. You can ask them to do that, but the salmon naturally comes right off of the skin. So after it's cooked, so beautiful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sear the salmon very, very quickly. And you don't have to do that either. Oh, we had so much stuff.
Yes.
If you don't want to sear the salmon, you don't have to. All you have to do is, can you guys see?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, that was hard.
It was. So I don't put a lot of seasoning on seafood because there's so much salinity from the water in the ocean. Okay, so you don't have to really worry about that. However, this is not, salmon's not an ocean fish. All right, so a little bit of salt, a little bit of olive oil, and then in the oven, probably about 375, 400, depending on your oven. For about 10 minutes, you can kind of see when it's done. If you are worried about it, just cut into it. Really don't worry about it. You're going to put a sauce on top of this. So if there's a little cut in it, no one's going to notice. You do not have to worry about that. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this in the oven. I'm not going to actually sear this. All right.
Okay.
John, take it away.
Absolutely. So I have a question. We have tomatoes here, and I had a grandmother who hated seeds in her tomatoes. So
Oh yeah.
if I have hours, I can take the seeds out.
Yeah, and I'll show you how to do that real
Okay.
quick. All right. So I'm just going to cut this into quarters lengthwise. And if you don't like seeds, that's fine. And I get that.
And was that?
So Amy, you're using plum tomatoes, it looks like, and I assume that's because they were more ripe than beefsteak?
You are right. Yeah. And I think I put that note into the recipes.
Yeah.
Like beefsteak are hard to find right now. Even heirloom are hard to find. You can find them, they're just
There
not
were
right.
none at the market this
They're
morning.
just not right. Yeah. And that's a good indicator. If it's not at the market, then it's probably not that great.
All right, I'm trying.
But right now, asparagus, strawberries,
Keep going.
the spring vegetables.
Peas should be in season right now.
Yep.
All right, so you can just take that seed right out if you don't like the seed. Another thing you can do, if you don't like skin, you can kind of, remember how we blanched those asparagus? You can blanch those and then the skin will peel off very easily.
How long would I blanch a tomato? 30 seconds or so?
Yeah, 30
And
seconds.
then once again, dip it into the cold water.
Absolutely, and let those cool off, because what happens is once we pull those off the heat, they continue to cook. It's like a steak. when you pull a steak off a grill, we want to sit and let it rest. It continues to cook. So we want to always bring that off a little bit earlier because we don't want to overcook it. We let it rest. However, with the vegetables, they're so small, they're so delicate. We put them into an ice bag and that immediately cools everything down.
Perfect.
All right, so I'm gonna.
So I'm gonna watch
Chop
the
these
clock. How long are we leaving the salmon in the oven?
I mean, I know it sounds so stupid.
Until it's done.
Until it's done.
Until it's done.
Let's do about 8 minutes. Let's check it at 8 minutes.
Sounds good.
It's very thin. It's not gonna take very long. It's not a whole salmon.
Right.
So we're just gonna watch it. Let's watch it at 8. I'm pretty sure it's not gonna be done at 8, but we will just keep.
We'll start watching.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So what are we doing now?
Sauce. We're back to the sauce.
All right. So I'm gonna move this over.
Okay. And Nancy, let us know if that works, and if not, I'll adjust.
Well, I'll hear.
So we had a virtual about an hour and a half ago, and we were talking about how challenging virtuals can be because cooking is it's very hands-on. So it's so much easier if I'm like, John, we need to do this right here. So it's a little bit harder for me to explain. This is what we're doing. So please be patient. But if you have any questions, of course, obviously we'll
It's
answer
always
them.
better cooking with someone.
Oh, and this is also lovely that John is here again. He's here for the second University of Maryland virtual. Nancy specifically requested him because she
Nancy.
loves him. No, it's okay. Nancy doesn't love me as much as she loves John. John speaks Italian, so I totally get it. All right.
All right, Amy, is there any disadvantage to lining the cookie sheet with foil before you put the salmon into the oven?
Not at all. However, spray that. Always spray your pan. I didn't spray that pan. There's enough fat coming off of that it's fine. But spray that aluminum foil. I have that experience with aluminum foil. Just spray it. Pan spray, or just rub it with some butter, or just put some olive oil down, just so that doesn't stick. And it doesn't matter because that skin is going to stick to it. And then once you pull it up, I'll show you once we get it done. But that skin is going to stay on the pan, and the salmon comes right off.
Could I use part?
All right, here's a great comment from Scott that I know you're going to love. And he says, I love Amy, but Amy plus John is just the best.
We love Scott.
So cute. Scott, did we date when I was young? Right, so.
Okay, so what are we doing now?
So now I have some oil in this pan. I have turned yes,
Okay.
I think we're good. So now I'm getting some oil heated up. These are induction burners. They make a little bit of noise. So I know it's a little distracting. So I have this on like medium low. I'm heating up. I just have some vegetable oil, honestly. You can do grapeseed, anything that has a high, exactly, point, which means if it's hot, it doesn't burn. Butter will burn. Olive oil eventually will burn. So we want to use something like a canola, a vegetable, a grapeseed, like anything that has a high smoke point.
So we don't want to normalize it.
I don't know.
I want brown butter.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
See, he's so worldly. I'm
Stop.
like, whoa. All right. So anyway, so we've got our oil here. What's going to happen here when you sort of see the oil shimmering a little bit? It's about time for a sear. So I'm going to let this sit for a minute, and we don't actually have to sear these vegetables, but I want to get this hot enough that as soon as it hits, there's a sizzle. A really easy way to tell if there's a sizzle, grab some flour, throw it in. If it sizzles,
Really?
Yeah. Get in there.
No. I've learned something.
Well, that's crazy because he has books in his oven. So
Well,
that's really
So
funny.
Amy, can you use ghee in this step in place of oil?
Yeah,
Oh, that would be good.
you can.
Once again, with ghee, the fats, the solids, the milk solids have been removed.
They have, yeah. So it's
So that's not
basically
gonna
oil.
burn.
Yeah, it's basically oil at that point. It's funny that you say that because I had an Indian cooking class on Wednesday, and we were talking about ghee and how you separate. It's clarified butter. I mean, ghee is clarified butter. So you just separate the milk solids from
the whatever.
the fat. Yeah.
For the whatever.
From
Yes.
the whatever. So he's very technical. All right, so I am getting this nice and hot. All right, for this, I am going to. Do we need garlic? Oh,
We have garlic. We have, how much garlic do you want?
I love
I know
garlic.
you love
All
garlic.
right, just figure the garlic out. All
Okay.
right, so at this point, what we're gonna do is, so garlic burns very easily. Uh-oh, I think my phone's about to die. Garlic burns very easily. So what I like to do is add whatever I'm cooking beforehand and then add the garlic. If I'm sauteing spinach, I saute the spinach first and then I add the garlic. It helps to have that the dissipation of heat. Like if you put garlic in here right now and all you put is garlic in, it's gonna burn. It just is. It's just the way it is. And burnt garlic is
Burn?
not that.
Sounds good. Ooh, let's
There's that lovely sizzle.
This is garlic.
Beautiful. Okay, all right. So another thing is, give me 2 seconds. John, be entertaining.
I can be entertaining. So, once again, how's everyone coming along? Are we going too fast or is everything just right?
I think
Where are we in the process?
All right, so, don't answer his question. So I just put the tomatoes in. So when you are cooking vegetables off, anything with a lot of moisture, tomatoes, mushrooms, spinach, if you put a little bit of salt in, that will pull some of that moisture out. And then that just goes really well with the sauce that we're gonna make. So I just put some salt into the tomatoes, that is gonna pull some of that moisture out, and that's gonna add to the sauce that we're making. And John is mincing some shallots really small. Normally, if I was doing large onions, I would start with the onion before anything else. However, these are shallots, they're very small, so we are gonna put the shallots now.
Ian is salivating right now.
Good. All right, so
Hey, look at that. That's good. I love that. Look at that.
yeah, it's something we learned.
Chef school.
Yeah, no, we do it with Cheerios with the kids.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we fill these with Cheerios. Obviously not on heat, and we give them. No, I'm not kidding. And we give them Cheerios, and then they catch. I mean, there's Cheerios everywhere for the kids' camps.
So
But
I need to send my niece to camp. Are you doing camps this summer?
yes, we're doing 3 different culinary camps for the kids this year. We've done them for for 6 years since we've been open. But yeah, no. So I'm gonna send you a pan and a box of Rice Krispies, and you just sit your kitchen.
She'll do that.
Right,
She'll do
exactly.
that. Perfect. Okay, so we have shallot, we have garlic.
Let's go shallot. Let's go shallot, baby. All right, awesome. All right, so we're gonna let this cook down a little bit. I'm gonna try to heat up just a little.
So let's talk about when kids are here, how do you practice social distancing and all that stuff?
Beat them with a
You
spoon.
beat them as God intended. No, that's so wrong. No. What do
No.
you do?
We have a very large space here, as you know.
Yeah.
John has been in both. We've had 2 spaces here. The first space, teeny tiny. We could have never reopened. This space is so large. So they all have their own stations. They all have their own cutting boards. Same thing as we do with the adults now. Everybody's separated. If you need to sit by yourself, I totally understand that.
Because I don't know if they can see, but back there are separate tables where, once again, parties or pods or people.
Exactly.
That's it. Okay.
All right, so
Wonderful.
at this point, we're cooking down these tomatoes.
That's beautiful.
Again, I'm gonna put a little bit more salt in here. We're gonna get that moisture pulled out of there. So I've got tomatoes, I've got shallots. Let's get that garlic in there.
Right, got
And
it.
you can smell like what's the fragrance?
That's so good.
So, even though I have a little bit of an allergy.
It's okay. Do you want this chopped?
Sure. All right, so this recipe calls for, and we're all about substituting. If you don't have, we were saying, if you don't have shallot, use onion. If you have a scallion, use a scallion, you know. Garlic is a little hard to substitute, but if you have garlic powder, use garlic powder. It's completely fine. I do not have basil, so I'm using tarragon. Tarragon's lovely. It's an underrated herb, I think.
I think so. So I'm just a
It's
little
really
shipping
good in
on.
green sauce. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amy,
Right, so I am still,
Amy, question.
yes.
okay. If you're starting with skin off salmon, are the instructions any different?
Skin off salmon.
No.
Instructions different.
Not at all.
Okay.
Just make sure you oil or grease that pan because that salmon will stick. The skin actually kind of acts as like an aluminum foil on this.
That's a
So if you are skin off salmon, make sure you have that nice and greased or hand spray or whatever you're using and use a decent amount of it.
Okay, so I like tarragon a lot, so I'm just,
I can smell it.
I'm right.
So tarragon has this like anise smell. However, it's a lot milder than that. Or like a black licorice, which I do not like. However, I love tarragon. It's so mild and it just has a beautiful flavor to everything. All right, so I've got my tomatoes. We've got our shallot or onion, whatever you're using. We've got our garlic. It smells really good in here. Okay. I'm going to check our salmon. Would you
Excellent.
mind?
No, entertaining. I can do that. So once again, Nancy, how are we doing? Look at that. That's beautiful. How are you doing with questions?
Well, a lot of them are about the salmon.
Okay, we're going to see.
How do you tell if it's overcooked?
That's a good question. How do you, so can we see the salmon?
That's from Melanie.
How can we tell if it's overcooked? Well, look at that. That is not overcooked, number one.
How can you tell if it's overcooked? Oh, I thought you were going to say, how can you tell if it's undercooked?
Well, why don't we talk about both?
All right, so what you want to do with your salmon, and I have to tell you, we just had a previous class where we made some stuff, and I was like, there's no shame in just cutting into something. So honestly, like you're not cooking for, well, it depends on who you're cooking for, but whoever you're cooking for, just cut it. Just cut into it and see if it's good. If you're putting a sauce on top of this, no one's going to see that little sliver, okay? So cut into it. If it's super raw in the middle, obviously it needs to go back in. Look, I do this for a living. I do this all the time. I kind of just know by touching, by seeing when it's done. But why would you guys know that? You're not professional cooks, or maybe you are.
And when it's overcooked, once again, the
And,
appearance.
and everybody likes their salmon differently. Some like it.
Nancy, that's a great point. A lot of people like it under, a lot of people like it really, really cooked. So that's a great point. So you kind of have to get it to where you want it. Same thing when we're talking about tasting, if you need more vinegar, if you need more, garlic. I'm going to interrupt for 2 seconds. So I have got the tomatoes, the garlic. I'm going to throw the corn in here. Corn takes a couple seconds. What I also am going to do now is add the white wine, all right? We want to do that on relatively high heat. That will what we call deglaze the pan. Any brown bits that are on the pan, totally great. The brown bits are a lot of flavor. All right, so we're still good. So this is, you're going to see this. So this white wine is going to cook down.
You're also cooking the alcohol, correct?
Thank you, John. Absolutely. We are cooking the alcohol off. So if you're making this for kids or someone that has a baby on the way, you don't have to worry about it too much. The alcohol cooks out to about 5%, I think, at least. From what I've researched, because people ask me that all the time. And if you don't want alcohol in it, you don't have to put
Once
it
again,
in.
you're back to chicken stock, vegetables,
Exactly. We'll do chicken stock. We'll cut it with some lemon juice. The lemon juice is perfect. You make a little tart, so that's fine. But chicken stock and lemon juice together, beautiful.
Perfect.
It is. And if you are non meat eater,
Vegan or vegetarian?
yeah, use veggie stock and some lemon juice. It's totally fine. All right. So this is looking. I think this
That's
is
looking
beautiful.
really nice.
What we're gonna do is I'm gonna turn this down.
Okay.
I've got this. How are we on time?
We are at 5:18.
What?
Yeah,
It's almost 5:30
it's
already?
almost 5:30.
All right, so we're gonna.
I'm afraid we're not going to get to the yummy chocolate mousse.
Oh, we're gonna
We're
do
gonna
it.
do
Don't worry
real
about it.
fast.
It's all good. It's all good. All right. So I'm gonna plate this real quick. Okay, I'm gonna throw the tarragon in.
Yep. How beautiful is that?
And then I
I
have
like extra.
plates. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so I just need to get this switched out with
Yeah,
that.
I'll take care of
And then
that.
I am going to, all right, so. Oh, that's huge.
You want this? What's next? And I'm gonna get rid of this.
All right, so I'm putting the salmon here. I'm gonna turn this off. I'm gonna get a bowl. So I'm gonna plate the salmon and the actual asparagus salad very quickly, and then we're gonna get to the chocolate mousse. Give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna grab a bigger plate because this salmon is actually pretty big. John's gonna.
Well, I got to tell you that Scott Wanicki, is saying, Holy Mother of Pearl.
Holy Mother, that's the best compliment I've gotten in a long time.
That sauce is tasty.
It really is. It's beautiful, and you can put it on anything, any kind of fish, chicken. It's fantastic. All right, so I'm going to go ahead.
Oh.
And it doesn't have to be a really thick sauce. This is a nice, healthy dinner. This is not cream sauce. This is not anything that's totally overwhelming. This is not rich. This is beautiful, beautiful vegetables. And then all I need is a bowl, which I got.
You got a bowl?
Yep. So at this point, you can keep your asparagus. You can get a bowl would be great. You can keep your asparagus whole, or you can cut it. I'm going to keep my asparagus whole. I need a bigger bowl.
Bigger bowl.
All right. Don't worry about it. Actually,
Okay.
I'm fine. I'm going to use this tray. All right, so I got this.
Oh, that looks beautiful. Look at that.
All right, so I got this. Hopefully you guys can see this. I'm going to just mix this on this tray. I'm going to shake. And we are running a little late because of my little horrible,
Technology.
Wi-Fi.
Yep.
John's here to open things, to be entertaining.
So
All right,
we
so
have an
I'm gonna
emulsion.
throw a little bit of this on top. Okay, beautiful. I'm gonna mix this with some tongs. I used it for the salmon. No big deal, I'm not really worried about it. And then if you have whole Parmesan or pecorino, something like that,
Oh, look at that. Isn't that beautiful?
what I like to do is, you're eating this for dinner, right?
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
So, I just have shaved, grated.
Great.
If you have a vegetable peeler and a whole piece of Parmesan, beautiful. All right, so you guys can see that. And we are gonna get to the chocolate mousse.
Let's do it because that's so easy and so fast.
It is, and then we've got chocolate right under it.
And
All
look at that.
right, so
Oh,
we're
that-
gonna do chocolate mousse.
Salmon looks so good.
Doesn't that? I am so happy with dinner.
John is taking this down.
I can't wait till we're done with this so I can make mine. I have all my ingredients here.
Okay.
Nancy, as always, it's so lovely to see you. Even though I can't see you, all I see is your name. But it's
I know.
good. It's
I
absolutely.
might let you see me in a minute. I'm not quite ready for prime time.
Ah.
I'm never ready for prime time. It's all good. All right,
Okay. So what are we doing?
we're doing chocolate mousse, and so forgive me, I never cook with recipes, so it's a little challenging for me to cook with recipes. I know it sounds ridiculous. So what we're gonna do now, melt chocolate down. This says to do it in a bain-marie. I've done this so many times that I don't use a bain-marie anymore. A bain-marie is when you put a pot over some steaming water so that whatever you're cooking, kind of like a hollandaise, doesn't curdle, doesn't overcook. I'm just gonna cook the chocolate straight up in a pan because I've done it a billion times.
But for the rest of
But
humankind,
for the rest of humankind,
use the bain-marie.
use the bain-marie.
Exactly.
All right, real quickly, back to the asparagus salad. Francis is asking, the recipe we were sent calls for arugula.
Ooh, okay.
No, absolutely. Use the arugula, like toss it all together. The arugula is for a little bit of color. There's a little bit of bitter in the arugula, which is really nice.
Peppery.
It's peppery, exactly. So it's nice. Do it as a salad. Use roasted potatoes in there. That's delicious. Cold roasted potatoes and salads, totally delicious. You can use whatever you want in this. We're just doing the basic asparagus.
I got it. And I'm going to try and keep the questions.
Arugula, mix that with the dressing. Do what you need to do.
Okay, I'm going to try and keep it, but if they're not really urgent questions, I'm going to keep them to a minimum so we can get to the mousse.
Perfect.
My favorite part.
Because Nancy, that's the only thing. She's like, I was like, I sent you the menus. You're like, as long as there's something chocolate on it.
Okay, so we have the chocolate,
Oh, I do have a lot of chocolate.
a little bit.
Just a little bit.
And this
of
is
chocolate.
dark chocolate, about what, 80%?
Whatever you want.
Exactly. So this is the bitter dark chocolate. Huh?
Yeah, it's bittersweet, which is
Bittersweet.
great. So I'm gonna melt this down a little bit. Like I said, if you were doing this at home, a bain-marie is.
Show me. I'll get some more.
You don't even need to. Just grab a little bowl.
Uh-huh.
Yes. No.
Oh.
The other one. So cute. All right. A bain-marie is, let's put some water in this, a bowl that fits on top, and then we steam the water. We whisk the chocolate so it doesn't burn. I've done this so many times that I don't need to do that anymore.
Boil the water. When the water is boiling, I put this on top, correct?
Yes, but then you want to turn the water way down. You do not want it boiling
Don't.
because the water will boil. Do not get any water in that chocolate either, and that will seize the chocolate.
Oh no, what a waste of chocolate.
What a waste.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
All right, so you have to read what you need to do. All right, so what we're gonna do, I'm using a mixer, a stand mixer, because I have exhausted him way too much today.
In a day.
And for him to actually have to whisk. All right, so we're going to whip cream. The colder your whipped cream, the better. Okay, so we're gonna whip that cream. What else do we do? You know what? Let's do the egg first.
Okay, let me get you an egg. Come on.
3. All right, so I'm gonna melt this chocolate. I don't know if my died. So I'm gonna start melting this chocolate down a little bit. If you're at home, use a bain-marie. Absolutely great. Another really easy way to do it, and I know it sounds crazy, is microwave it. Chocolate melts in the microwave really easily. And I hate to say that as a cheater, but it's true. I studied in Italy and they used the microwave so much I was shocked.
I'm all about cheating.
I could not believe it. So don't worry about that. All right, I'm gonna get, okay, so step white peaks. We need whites, okay? So egg whites, we're gonna separate the eggs from the whites. And I apologize if you guys need to jump off, I totally understand. We got a little aggressive with this menu and we also had a little bit of technical difficulty in the beginning. Egg whites, very, very easy. You crack.
They're really cold.
All So what you let the egg white kind of go through your hands, and then we put the yolks in there. Can you keep doing that?
Sure.
Great. After that.
You know, I've seen, what is the thing with bottles and things like that where they're just sucking them on? Have you seen these things on TikTok? And
It's called being lazy.
well, yeah, but it's like, you know what? This is not so hard.
But yeah, why empty a whole book yet? It's ridiculous. But yes, they do have egg separators. It's funny, I had someone in here the other day and said, do you have an egg separator? I'm like, are you kidding? It's your hand. Like, no. It's like, do you have a garlic press? I'm like, yeah, it's called a knife. It's totally fine. I'm actually confused a little bit. All right, so anyway, so I'm just melting this down to basically a chocolate sauce. And then what we're gonna do is, it really helps if you put the heavy cream into the freezer. Cool it down a lot. And then we're gonna use the stand mixer because, like I said, I've asked John to cook way too much today. So you've got these separated.
Yep.
Right, so we are going to whip these into stiff peaks, which kind of means you're going to whip them, and then if you can turn them over and they stick.
I need to put my glasses on.
John needs his glasses.
All right.
All right, so I'm actually doing this in the
Okay. Going. Okay, so you have to forget all the noise here.
I mean, as long as you have your salmon and your asparagus in, I think you guys are good. But yeah, we're whipping these eggs. You can do this by hand. It just takes a lot longer. So this is a great tool to have if you can. I can't fit these just into my small little kitchen if you can. So yeah, absolutely.
Well, Amy and John, I have to tell you that Dr. Gerald just sent me a picture of their dinner, and it looks absolutely scrumptious.
Nancy, I'd like to come over. We have way too many things. Okay, give us your question again.
I said, Dr. Gerald just forwarded me a picture of their dinner,
Ooh,
and it looks wonderful.
Dr. Gerald just forwarded a picture of their dinner to Nancy, and it looks wonderful. Good, good. And
Well, he's got a bunch of four girls again.
exactly.
Yeah, and his grandson is with him now, but I think they're all looking forward to
Wonderful.
this scrumptious dessert.
Okay, so Amy, what did you add to the chocolate?
I added a little heavy cream.
Okay, so we're in a holding pattern right now. We're still waiting for the egg whites.
So this one's on your foot.
Yeah.
They're very close.
Yep.
To getting peaks.
Almost.
How do you feel?
Almost.
Those look like stiff peaks to me.
Thank you. Okay.
So this one's stiff tiki.
Okay. Now what are we going to do?
I don't know.
Yeah. Read the
I'm
directions.
just kidding. I never make chocolate.
Exactly.
All right, I'm just
Given a
kidding.
full
All right, so the blah, 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 blah. Did you do sugar?
Sugar.
Add some sugar.
Add some sugar.
Oh, do you know how you do this?
Yeah. Okay.
I'll add some sugar.
Add some sugar.
How's everybody doing? Do we have any questions? I know we're getting to the end very quickly. Like I said, this may have been a little bit of an aggressive menu. However, really appreciate you tuning in at least.
That's great. Generally, how long does it take to get egg whites to peak?
Oh, that was maybe 3 minutes.
Well, that's with the stand
With
mixer.
this, yeah.
With the stand mixer, yeah, 3 minutes. However, if you're doing it by hand, it takes a good 10 to 12 minutes. If you have someone to like kind of,
A helper.
yeah, tag team it with you, it's so much easier.
Okay, so we've added some sugar. We're turning it back on.
We're gonna whip those. I've got my chocolate melted.
Wait. This is almost like making meringue. Yeah.
Which I hate making.
No.
You like making meringue?
No one does. I don't. And it's interesting with the sugar. We'll show this in just a minute. The egg whites get glossy. Okay, we're ready? I think we're ready.
All right, so next time, so what I want you to do is we're gonna put the egg whites into a different bowl. Then we're gonna mix the heavy cream and make that into a whipped cream. And then what we're gonna do, and we may not get through this because, like I said, we were a little ambitious with this, is then we're going to add the whites to the cream and then the chocolate to the cream. And you can do this in your stand mixer or you can lightly fold it in. So we will.
Let's see our egg whites.
Stiff.
Yeah.
Step.
Okay.
Amy, is it safe to eat? Denise is asking, is it safe to eat raw egg whites? She's always been afraid to do it.
Okay, so I will tell you a couple different answers. No, but everything's pasteurized these days, so you really don't have to worry about it. I know, like, there's always a warning, and it's almost like with the Caesar salad, there are raw egg yolks in those, but the eggs are pasteurized now. So they come up to a certain temperature to the point where there's no bacteria. So yes and no. Would I recommend eating 4 of them a day? But if there's a little bit in it, it's totally fine. In my opinion, be careful with your kids. Kids are allergic to everything these days. But eggs are pasteurized. Everything's pasteurized these days. Like I always have a lot of women in here that are
Pregnant.
I don't know why I couldn't figure out that word. Pregnant. And they ask about the cheeses. And I get that. However, so many cheeses are pasteurized these days, so you don't have to worry about that.
But it's also going to be cooked because the heat from the chocolate.
True. But if they wanted to taste it right now. Yeah.
Okay. So how much cream? All of it. Love it.
Okay, and I'm hoping perhaps we can bring Dr. Jarrow back in with his beautiful grandchildren to show us what they have.
Yes.
Dr. Jarrow?
Go ahead, Lily, unmute.
Okie dokie.
Artist? We're all here. Hold it, come on over here.
We're starting without us.
I think, yes, we did, as a matter of fact. The sauce was very good, as already was said on your, in the chat session. And the salmon tastes excellent. You had a piece of it, didn't you, Lily?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's about all you'll hear.
Okay.
Bruce here didn't need any.
Bruce, I love you.
really like it.
He'd like to have pizza instead.
Well, it's hard for kids to really like
Yeah.
fish, I think.
Both delicious.
But Bruce, I love your t-shirt. Little Bruce.
Yeah. I just lost a tooth like a couple of weeks ago.
Did the tooth fairy come to visit you?
Yeah, and they got $3.
Wow. You better be careful how you spend it.
Yeah. I haven't spent any money yet.
Okay.
So,
Where are we on our chocolate mousse?
yeah, we're waiting for the mousse, are we? He wants to eat a mousse, is what he said.
Okay.
I love goose.
Oh,
Very close. All right,
Almost.
so we are whipping our cream now. We are going to add
So once again, 3 minutes as opposed to 10 minutes. And why don't you show them the chocolate? Because once again, the smell, the consistency is beautiful.
All right, so, no, I can't.
Okay.
All right, so we've got the chocolate right here. It's melted. I did that actually I just did it on low heat on the actual burner.
Okay.
So let's add this into the whipped cream, and then we'll slowly, after that's mixed, we'll
To make
So I'm adding everything into the whipped cream.
very slowly.
Slowly, okay.
Oh. Did you take
Oh.
a picture? Take a picture.
well, it's interesting.
Here,
We're
Lily,
getting
come
a-
here. You gotta be in the picture. too.
Oh, oh my God. Did Grandma help you make that?
My mom.
Your mom. Okay. Hi, Gwen. Oh, that looks so good. So it's actually funny. We're getting a lot of comments about the going rate of the tooth fairy.
How much do you get, Lily, for a tooth?
I get $5.
She gets $5.
All right, it says that the going rate for the tooth fairy is $4.35.
There you are, Lily. You're getting paid extra.
Yeah.
And when I got 4 teeth pulled, I got $20.
Oh,
$20 for 4
Wow.
teeth, huh?
okay.
Good.
And then Catherine is saying, I only used to get a quarter. Inflation.
Yeah, well, most of us, when we pull 4 teeth, have to pay $20.
Right,
Or a
yeah.
little bit
And-
more.
And then some.
Yeah.
How's
the mousse, Bruce?
Awesome.
Oh, thumbs
Lily?
up.
Another one.
Here, Lily.
You want one, Lil?
Thumbs up, good.
Have another?
So, I'm at this point adding slowly the chocolate into the whipped cream. Because once again, the chocolate is hot and I don't want to deflate the cream.
Chocolatey.
It's awesome.
Okay.
We're getting, my meal came out great. Wonderful. Nico is saying delicious. Oh, it was Seifa who said, my meal came out great. Wonderful. Thank you, Seifa. A few people have to hop off, but they love the show and want to say goodbye and can't wait for the next installment of
Can I eat that?
MB Alumni Cooking
Don't leave it
Class.
here.
Yeah, I want that.
Well, so are we at the end, Nancy?
I think so. Amy, can you tell us where we are?
All right, so at this point, we have our chocolate into our whipped cream, right? And now we're going to gently fold in these egg whites.
How do you fold them in?
Why do that?
No,
I've
if
been asking
anybody has
questions
seen,
all day long.
yes,
I'm just kidding. So I'm going ahead just to fast track.
yeah.
But folding in is, you want to be very gentle.
Look
So
at
what
this
you
one,
want
Lily.
to do is,
Plonk, and then turn.
anyway, you want to just gently fold them in.
Mm.
And then what you want to do before you serve this is stick it in the refrigerator for about an hour to 2 hours, and then it'll solidify a little bit more. Okay. So folding is just, honestly, I know it sounds crazy, folding. You want to be very gentle. It's like if you are working with crab meat, you fold in crab meat. Like you don't want to break it up. Just, this is very light. This is supposed to be very airy. You don't want to go crazy and stir this in. Okay.
Well, the mousse is very, very good tasting, Amy. I can tell you that.
I am very glad to hear it. I'm sorry we ran over, and I'm very sorry we had some technical difficulties in the beginning, but hopefully it was worth it. And if you guys need anything, always remember you can email me with questions, and I will take care of it. So
Look at the pudding, or look at the
Hi,
mousse.
Amy and John.
Take care.
It's lovely seeing you. John, thanks again for doing this with me. I love him. He's so great.
So Amy and John, when is your restaurant going to be open?
Thanks for putting up with us today. We love you guys. Thank you so much.
Take care.
When is your restaurant going to be open?
It depends on when you're gonna actually fund it. So we'll be waiting on that. So it's all good.
All right. Well, thank you. As always, thank you very much. The food is just delicious, as you can see, and I really enjoyed it. And those who are on the call, thank you very much for being here. I hope it was worthwhile. From the comments, it was awesome. So thank you for all of that.
Thank you guys. Thanks so much.
Have a good evening.
All right. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care.